everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I am so excited to bring you my absolute favorite video to film every single year, and that is the best and worst books of the year 2017. As of the end of today, because I am still working really hard on one last book, I would have read 70 books this year, which is the most that I have been able to read since 2015. So the fact that I was able to read that much my senior year of college, when I am totally like stressed out about a whole bunch of other things, was really amazing for me and gives me hope that I will be able to read a whole bunch when I go into the real world of adulthood. Let's just go right into the best books of 2017. I have 10 books on this list. They are not really ordered in any way. I do have 2 top books because these 2 just stood out above the rest. So like I guess I have 2 number 1s, but the rest of them are just kind of like, hey, I liked this book. The first book that I want to talk about is The Curated Closet by Anushka Rees. I hope that is how you say the name. I do not know. It is a book about cultivating your closet and making it into what you want it to be. I read this book because I wanted to have a semi-capsule wardrobe and I had no idea where to start, and so I decided to pick this book up because a lot of the YouTubers that have capsule wardrobes recommended that book. This book really helped me get a feel for my style and what I want to have moving forward, and it really helped me cultivate my closet. So yes, The Curated Closet is on my list. The next book is Big Happy Mushy Lump by Sarah Anderson. This is the second book in the Sarah Scribbles graphic novel series. I absolutely love these comics because I am an adult seedling. I have just been planted as an adult and I am slowly growing. It feels really weird to see like full-grown adults and like baby seedling adults and be like, how do I get there? And this book kind of just makes me feel better because I realize that probably everyone feels like a little seedling adult. This book just really illustrates the struggles of being a seedling adult and being like, what? I just really loved this book because it made me feel like I wasn't really alone in the world when it comes to like terrifiedness of adulting. The next book is The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. This is Rupi's second book of poetry, and last year her book Milk and Honey was actually my number 1 book of the year, so I was super excited to see what she would be bringing into the mix with this new book. This new book wasn't my absolute favorite because Milk and Honey was just, it was divine. But I really did still enjoy this book. Rupi Kaur just has a way with words in the sense that she can say things that I have been trying to say in all of its complexity with like the most simple words ever, and you're like, I am just very thankful for Rupi Kaur and her writing style because it just, hallelujah. The next book is Always and Forever Laura Jean, which is the 3rd and final book in the Laura Jean trilogy thing. I just love this trilogy. I think one of its books has been on my list every year because it's just so cute. I love the family dynamics. I love Laura. I just love it. Everyone should read it. Go read the books. Just go read them. The next book is Al Capone Does My Shirts by Jennifer Choldenko. This is another one of those books that I think many people read when they were like in middle school or something, but because I didn't go to traditional school, I kind of missed out on that. Thankfully, I want to be an educator, and I was in a reading and writing methods class this past semester, and this was one of the books that we read, and I am so very thankful that I read it because For those of you who don't know, Al Capone Does My Shirts is a historical fiction middle grade book about a boy and his family who move to Alcatraz because his dad works at the jail on there. And we follow the main boy as he just learns more about himself, his family, and what really matters to him in life. And it's good. I think I have a really big connection to middle grade books that make you feel something because I find it amazing when you are able to connect to someone from a young age and be able to like see it in the way that you would have at that age. So I get really excited when I find middle grade books that just like make me feel so much, because I know that when I'm a teacher in my future, I'll be able to read those books to my students and they'll be able to have access to those feelings through books that are really amazing. So this was a book that was really amazing, and it was just it was dandy. The next book is actually a really recent read, and it is The V Word, True Stories About First-Time Sex by Amber J. Kaiser. I got this book from my sister for Christmas, and I opened it and I was just like, so this is being read now. This book is exactly what it sounds like. It's a book about people talking about their first time that they had sex, and it talks about virginity and the construct and what virginity means to different people in different ways, and I absolutely positively loved this book. I'm really interested in sexology and learning about the way that people interact with intimacy, themselves, relationships, and sex, and I just really loved reading how much this construct could be diverse among the diverse people that it interacted with. For some people, it was like the biggest thing of their life, and for others, it was something that they would rather forget. And so being able to see that this was something very different for everyone, I just really loved being able to read those stories from the people who experienced these stories. It just really is humanizing and validating to be able to read this and see that your experience is different from others, but it's not at the same time. I just loved it. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. Turtles All the Way Down for me was not the most amazing thing, but it affected me because I think that most people read so that they can understand viewpoints and things that are different from them, and to try and become, like, I don't know, like better people in a sense. And that might sound silly, but I think that for myself, when I read and I find similarities between me and other people, and I find differences, and I'm able to better understand those differences because of the similarities that we had. And I think that this book was a wonderful example of doing that. Turtles All the Way Down is a story that follows a girl named Aza who is struggling with OCD, and you just get to see what her life is in her everyday life. I have never personally interacted with OCD by myself. I have had friends who have had OCD and loved ones who have had OCD, but that's something that I personally have never had to experience. So being able to read a book about someone who struggles with this was really eye-opening to me, because there were moments where I would say, like, why is that such a big deal? But I had to consciously think, okay, this is her life, and this is how she interacts with the world, and this is what the world looks like for her. So I, as a person who does not go through this, needs to try to understand what's going on. Even though in my everyday life I do my best to try to understand people who are different than me, it can really be helpful to read narratives in the perspective of people who are different from you, so then you can have a better understanding. So kudos to John Green, because it was good. The next book is one that lots of people read probably in elementary or middle school, and that is The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Juster. What is this? Like, how did I miss this growing up? The Phantom Tollbooth is about this boy named Milo, Milo? It's about a boy whose name is M-I-L-O. And one day, a toll booth shows up in his house, and it transports him to a world of wonderful academic, like, things and imagination. I'm going to read this to my students. There's no way that I'm not. It just encompasses imagination and that fun, childlike experience in a way that I haven't read in a really long time, and it just made me smile, it made me want to dance around in my underwear. Not really, what am I saying? It was great. It was wonderful. Now we're on to the top books of 2017. The first book that really just took my heart away from my body this year was The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Neffenegger. I don't think that I have fangirled this much with a book in the longest time. Like, literally, my mother was like, you need to stop making noises when we're reading because it's not nice. And I was like, Mom, I realize this, but like, also I just got lost in the pages. I got lost in the pages, and I haven't done that in a really long time. Not in the sense that I haven't read good books. It's just that I didn't want it to end. I just wanted it to go on forever and ever, and I'm babbling, but that's because I loved it so much. And people have been telling me to read this book for years and years and years, and I was just kind of like, nah, it'll happen. But oh my god, everyone was right. It was amazing. It was an amazing book. And finally, the second book this year that really was just like tippy top. I'm sure it's not going to be a surprise. The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. I don't even know how to articulate my feelings about this, and like I've been thinking about it, and all I want to do is just like tear up. I want to believe that people read books to be able to understand people who are different from them, or experiences that they want to be able to understand, but they're never going to be able to understand because they are not in that person's shoes. And with this book, I have seen multitudes of people who have tried to understand something that they are never going to be able to experience, and they have been able to see in a perspective that is not their own what this pain can look like in a way that they had never thought of before. And so this book right now is just working wonders in my eyes, because people are able to see things not from their perspective, but in a perspective that is so important right now. It's always important, but especially right now. Reading this book just made me sob and sob and sob, because it's important. It's important. It just... And that's it for the best books. Read some really great books this year. I'm so excited about them. And now, it's time for the worst books of 2017. Thankfully, I only have 4, but oh goodness. And these ones I did order from least worst to the worst of the worst, because I read some interesting ones. The first book on my worst books of 2017 list is The Serpent King. And this book's on here because I just didn't get enough from this book. And I don't know if I'm just like a stoic, like, unfeeling person, but like I just didn't care about the characters. This book was about a dude named Dill whose dad was like a Pentecostal like preacher, and he like had something to do with like rattlesnakes, and like his dad's in jail now, and like all these different kind of things. And I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds controversial and all this kind of stuff. I'm ready. But like I just didn't get that. And it's weird because I realized that other people did. I don't know. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was the book. Who knows? Who knows? It wasn't my cup of tea. It wasn't my cup of tea. The third worst book of the year was Player Piano by Kurt Vonnegut. When I was in high school, I really loved Kurt Vonnegut. Like, he was my homie G. And now I'm just like, no. I was bored with this book. And like, I wish I could tell you what happened. I don't really remember what happened because it just like flitted out of my head as soon as I finished the book. And I'm really confused. Why did I finish the book? It wasn't good. It wasn't good. My second worst book of the year was Brave New World. What to say? What? Like, maybe I need to just like recalibrate, or like I don't know what happened in this. I don't know what the point was, and maybe it was because I didn't read this in academia, and like I just read it by myself and I wasn't following like a study guide or anything like that, but like I don't understand. I don't understand. Nope. And the number one worst book of 2017. I'm like, woo! I need to prepare myself to talk about this book because it just makes me so angry. Like, I don't... My worst book of 2017 is Mrs. Fletcher by Tom Perrotta. I have no clue why I finished reading this book. This book is about a middle-aged mother who's divorced, whose son goes off to college, and we follow them as both of them kind of go on new sexual awakenings. The mother is called a MILF for the first time, and she has to come to terms with, what is a MILF? Am I a MILF? And then her son goes off to college, and like college, and ooh, As you can see, I'm still in shock because I think this book was trying to give an in on social issues to the audience, which from my understanding would be like middle-class white women, because that's the demographic that Mrs. Fletcher fit into, and give an in to things that people might not understand. Maybe. That being said, no. This book was just like, I don't know. It tried to do so many things, and it brought up so many things, and I was just like, why is this here? There has to be some type of important ending, or it's gonna tie all these things together, but it never did. It never did, and I'm just like, like what? Why did I read this whole book? But also, I have recommended this book to everyone because I just want to see if anyone else can understand it, because I don't feel it was real. I don't feel like it was real at all. And of the people who have read it, they all have the same opinion that I do. So if you have read it, please talk to me. If you have not read it, please read it and talk to me, because yep, those are the best and worst books that I have read in 2017. Please let me know if you have read any of the books that I read and what you thought about them. If you yourself have made a best or worst books video of 2017, please leave it down in the comments below so then I can go check you out. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful 2018, and I will see you in the next video.